So we want to help you guys do that. All right. Next up, we've got our favorite topic of the NAR settlement. Yay. All right. It is August 9th, 2024. We have had all of our commission fields removed from the MLS. The technical effective date is August 17th, so 8 days from now, but effectively the MLS has already pulled our information. So, and they've released, FAR has released a couple forms. So we've had to implement some things. All right, you guys, a lot of you, almost all of you, a lot of you attended my training last week on the various documents that came out. However, and that was listed, there's some compensation forms, buyer broker agreements, showing agreements, and whatnot. However, we have more forms that have come out. As of yesterday, a new form has come out, the one we were waiting on. So if you guys want to go to floridarealtors.org, there is a whole page dedicated to this. You can see what is dedicated to this, all the different resources, all the videos that they have. I've pointed out some videos in that training. If you guys haven't watched that training, and actually there's a link to that training on YouTube, but there's also a link on our website that I'm about to tell you about. So lots of resources available through Florida Realtors. The frequently asked questions video is actually a really good one. The technical ones where they go through the documents are a little dry, I get that, but the FAQs are very good. And there's a spectacular FAQ on that website. So please make sure you are going to this website and checking things out. All right. So we have gone through all the forms that have been released up and through July 30th. However, there is one more form that was released this week, and that was the form about existing listings. So what do we do about existing listings to make them comply with these new rules? So there has always been a form out there called the modification to listing agreement form. What I have pulled up here on the screen is the red line version, even though it's in blue, but the red line version, well, it is red line because blue is inputs. But anyway, red line version of, no, it's not. It's supposed to be in red. Anyway, of that form. So it's the same form that existed before, with the modifications to the listing agreement that in the new listing agreement that went over, just embedded in here. So the first change here is just language about compliance with the NAR settlement. That's all this first thing is. Second, nothing changes here about the termination date or the price or commission or percentage or anything like that. They did modify the to comply with a lease here, so they added that here. But this section here about selecting A, B, or C is the change to the listing agreement. So it basically just is a one-page document that highlights the change. So you can just go ahead and go ahead and have your seller select 1, 2, or A, B, or C here. Now, if you think about this, you may have to have the conversation with this seller to say, hey, this document is required for new compliance that we have to go through. You can approach it multiple ways. You can ask them if they want to change anything. I personally wouldn't do that. I would personally fill it out and say, hey, I fill this out to reflect what is in our listing agreement, please sign here. That's what I would do. You could get, if they asked about the choices, you can get into the choices and all the reasons why they want to continue to offer a co-broke commission. I went through some analogies during my training on that. But effectively, it's box number A here that they've already agreed upon for all existing listings, because we were required to do that. All right. So box A, you fill it out based on your existing listing agreement and have them sign it. It is required for all active and pending listings. The reason I'm requiring it for all pending listings is in the event that pending goes active again, you're going to have to get it required. or you're going to have to get it signed. So maybe the office position will be only if it switches back to active. But before it switches back to active, you must have this signed. Yes, commercial also. Yes, leases also. Any active listing. Yes, land. Any active listing that we have that was in the MLS, which I think there was 82 of them, if I recall the last I checked. Those are active. Actually, that doesn't even include pending. So I don't know how many pendings we had, but any active or pending listing that was in the MLS, if it's active, you must get this signed. It must be signed prior to August 17th. Any pending listings, you must get it signed if it goes active, before it goes active again. Okay, so if contract falls out, goes back on the MLS with no commission fields, you must get this signed. Okay, so nothing big there. The other changes to this agreement basically had to do with language that is now required for the settlement. So they added some language in here about compensation. This language talks about the fact that in order to put it in the MLS prior, we had to offer compensation. Now we don't have to offer compensation. So that's effectively what this says here. Okay, so you must get this signed and into your dot loop prior to August 17th for all active MLS listings, doesn't matter what type. Okay, all right. Now, next up are tools. What tools do we have? Yes, TC can get this signed. Our transaction coordinator, Caroline, the vacation enabler, can do anything. She is superhuman. Yes, she can help you get this signed. All right. What tools do we have? We have told you guys that dot loop is already equipped for you guys to get these listing agreements and buyer broker agreements and everything done on the road. So we will have more classes on that we need to get out there and or modify our dot loop class to make sure that you guys on a mobile phone know how to do that. However, from a communication standpoint to all the world, and right now it is all the world, anyone that goes on our Impact Realty Info website will have access to this. So right now it is not required to be an agent. We're debating whether or not you have to fill that agent field out or not. But impactrealtyinfo.com is where the world can see commissions. Now, if you notice, impactrealtyinfo.com has traditionally been our recruiting site where we drive recruits to find out about Impact Realty Info. So, no surprise, I don't want other agents getting into our retail site for the consumers where you're searching for houses, you know, either to list your home or to search for things. We want to drive them to a very concise website that is specific to our brokerage, and that's it. So that's why we have impactrealtyinfo.com, not to be confused with our Impact Tampa website. So right here on the main page, there is a button that says Co-Broke Commission Search. Click here. Boom, you click here. At the bottom, you've got a link to the YouTube video that we put out last week regarding the whole settlement. So going over the forms, it's right here on our website. And you've got a property search here. Andy, we probably may need to make this field a little bigger, but we got a property search here. So let's just type in one of our listings, 3710 Hamilton. Search, 3710 Hamilton. Has a commission, co-broke commission of 2.5% minus $295. There is no seller concessions. That's the full address. Listing agent, Angela Allstott. Seller or broker paid. It's a broker paid commission. So that is so that any buyer's agent understands if they're writing a contract, which commission agreement they need to get signed. The broker to broker commission agreement or the seller to broker commission agreement. Because if you recall, under section B of either the modification of listing agreement or the actual listing agreement form, It is a percentage of the purchase price or a flat dollar amount paid by seller. So if it's paid by seller, it will say seller paid right here on our search engine. Therefore, the agent will know which form they need to attach to any offers. So we've made it very simple and very easy to use for all co-broke agents. So where can you find this information? This website is going to have to be disseminated out to the public. Currently, our MLS does not allow us to embed hyperlinks or websites into listings. Now, I have seen other MLSs around the country allow links to websites. I would not be surprised if ours starts doing that. However, the stipulation for those other MLSs is you can't have a website direct to your co-broke commission compensation. You have to be 2 clicks away from that, is what they're saying. So therefore, that's why we have 2 clicks away. So we drive them to this website. If our MLS starts allowing it, we will drive them to this website on all materials. So whether it's going to be a QR code on the sign rider, whether it's a QR code on a flyer in the house, whether it's a QR code on the key ring. We've seen, I had one of our agents, Tim Urban, text us a key ring picture the other day. I forgot to put it in the slideshow, but on the key ring, it says 3% on the key ring. So the key in the lockbox, you pull it out, it says 3% on here, or 3% minus 295 or 395 or whatever the amount is. You put it on the key ring, fine, no problem. If you want to put it on the sign rider on the actual listing, I would not put an actual percentage on there, to be honest with you, because that percentage theoretically could change. I would put for, maybe brokers protected or broker compensation, QR code, and impactrealtyinfo.com. Keep it generic, then you can use it on every single listing that you've got. Maybe the office will be buying some of those soon. We haven't gotten that far yet. We just got our website launched here this week. But that's my idea on how to get it out there as much as possible. We have not yet launched a phone-in service yet. That's, we've got other tools that we're thinking about keeping your guys' life easier. But for now, please drive people to our website. If anyone calls in our office, they will be driven to our website where they can impactrealtyinfo.com, click search, enter the property address, 3710 Hamilton, boom, search. People can see the co-broke commission, make sure they got their listing, everything's in here, right? Now, when we launched this, we had only uploaded our residential listings. We now have our commercial listings uploaded in there. We also have our land listings uploaded in there. The only listings that are not currently uploaded are leases. So just bear with us. We are going to get our leases uploaded and in this site. Now, that goes back to something I went over in our training. This site is all automated. It does not have human inputs necessary. Therefore, on nights and weekends, if you upload a listing at 7 p.m. on a Friday night, you are not waiting for our staff to come in on Monday morning and then input the data. You must put in your .loop certification before it goes live on the MLS. The .loop certification is the link that feeds everything. So you have to do that for this to work properly. You cannot slack on that. If we find out that there's a listing live and we don't have a .loop certification, we're going to give you 24 hours to get it to us. We will hound you and we will give you 24 hours to get it to us. If you don't, we are pulling that listing off the MLS until you get that to us. So you must have that in place so that all of our tools work properly. Okay? Very, very important that you do that. I am not deviating from that. And if I upset people, look in the mirror. That's your fault. So please put the .loop certification. with that said, if there are any quirks or errors or anything like that, please make sure that you know about it, or we know about it. So I would test it as well. So please, you upload a document in the or your .loop certification. I assume it's instant. I'm not 100% positive. It might be a couple minute delay or a little bit. Assume it's instant. But I would then go back and test this website to make sure it's out there so that you guys can just keep your lives easy and not have to answer all kinds of co-broke commission questions. All right. So very simple, very easy. That's all I've got for the co-broke commission tools right now. Now, at our power forums, it's critical for you guys to be at our power forums this week, because at our power forums, we're going to be going over and spitballing back and forth different opportunities and different scenarios and when to use what and how you guys are approaching things. So please make sure you are at our power forums this week. I will be there. I'll be there at both of them. It's really important that you guys are there. Okay. We got our high level on Monday. We got everyone on Tuesday. So please RSVP for those. The link is in the chat. We will also, as things evolve, we will adapt more tools to make sure that you guys are staying ahead of everything. If rules come out, i.e. if the MLS allows us to start putting links in there, we'll put links in there immediately. I promise you that. All right. And we will make sure that we've got all the tools for you guys to not have to answer these questions from other agents. All right. Okay. Before I get into our changes, so as part of our of the NAR settlement, we had to make some modifications to our ICA, our independent contract agreement. But before I do that, I do want to go over one other thing with our staff that that we forgot to go over, and that is DAs. So all of this is creating more work for our staff. Not only is all this creating more work for our staff, it's coming at a time where you guys are crushing it. So we have more contracts coming through. We have more closings coming through. We have we're growing as a brokerage. The quality of the agent is just continuing to rise and rise and rise. That's why our statistically we're killing it right now. That means that if you don't get your paperwork in to our staff until the day of closing or the day before closing with regards to DAs, it makes it very difficult for our staff to get things out. And as Caitlin said, you need to be the ones checking your settlement statements to make sure these are correct. Our office staff, I cannot tell you how many times our office staff has saved the asses of our agents because the title company came in with wrong commissions. So therefore, if it wasn't caught by our staff, the agent didn't catch it. So do not rely on our staff to catch these things. It is on you. You must review the settlement statement, make sure the commissions are correct in accordance with what our, whatever agreement we have in place, buyer broker agreement, seller, listing agreement. It's going to be more challenging now, especially when commissions might be coming from multiple sources. It might be some coming from the seller, some coming from the buyer, or seller's broker and coming from the buyer. So because things are getting more challenging, you guys are on top of these things. You need to make sure you are going over settlement statements. We do our best to get DAs out there, and we bend over backwards. We spoil the heck out of you guys, even the ones that are slacking and get into us last minute. But if you get us a DA last minute and our staff doesn't have the time to process it, I'm sorry. That's not on them. Please hound the title company to at least get a prelim DA that you can check the commissions on. It doesn't matter if some other things are going to change with the final numbers from the lender and whatnot. You can at least get a prelim DA that the commission income is not going to change. So you guys can review that. You can also review seller concessions. That's something that's going to be important to review as well, because title companies miss that often on seller concessions, because the MLS is basically promoting to skirt this whole commission thing through offering seller concessions. That's why they put the new field on the MLS. Let's call it what it is. make sure that those seller concessions are correct as well. So DAs are critical to get in as early as possible. Please get them to us a couple days before closing. As soon as you guys have that settlement statement or prelim settlement statement, please get them to us before closing. Dot loop certifications must go in before the listing goes live so that we can have all of our tools run properly. All right. Next up, our independent contractor agreement. So because of the settlement, because of the NAR settlement, we are required to adjust our independent contractor agreement. Why? Because our independent contractor agreement, as I'm sure everyone's, had information, had requirements in there that you have to comply with certain things in the MLS and related to commissions. Well, if commissions are coming off the MLS, we have to remove that. So we've cleaned up our ICA related to anything that wasn't used. We had some language in there about penalties that we've never enforced on you guys for submitting docs late. So I just said, you know what, if we're not actually doing it in practice, we're getting it out of there. We're going to enforce everything that's in there. So there was some MLS language in there about commissions. There were some things in there about your insurance and requirements there. So I've cleaned that language up a little bit. We've always had for those of you that are referring agents into the brokerage, we've had, you know, who the referral source was, but we've cleaned that up into more industry-wide language of calling it a sponsor and adding that to the ICA, because that's you know, really important that it's in there, not just in our internal database, that you designate when you join who your sponsor is, who referred you, and whatnot. All right, so other changes that we are making in the independent contract agreement. We have not in 5 years increased fees under any circumstances. So while the world has experienced ridiculous inflation and living is way more expensive and salaries are increasing because of that, groceries, gas, just everything costs more money and exponentially more over the last 5 years, us at Impact Realty have kept our fees flat. We haven't ever increased them. So it's necessary to increase some fees. However, I'm a very firm believer that if I can figure out a way to reward all of you and keep you guys that have been with us for a long time and keep you guys, where you're at, and I can go get that revenue from other places, I'm going to go get it from other places. So some highlights that have not been in the independent contract agreement but are going in there are your personal transactions. So personal transactions, if you guys haven't been aware, we've had kind of an unwritten rule where you're allowed 4 personal transactions a year at a $300 fee. Personal transactions, which would normally be at a $9.95 fee like we charge everyone, but if you are the owner of the property or you are a principal on the LLC that owns the property or the entity that owns the property, we're not trying to make money off of you. We're trying to just cover our costs. So basically, you're allowed to do 4 per year. For those of you that are flipping and those of you that are investing, you're allowed to do 4 per year at $300 a file. We do have to charge E&O because there's still risk there. But at $300 a file, you get to do those transactions, 4 per year. That came up probably a year or two ago, probably 2 years ago, by me analyzing our competition. And our competition, I think the one I looked at allowed like 2 or 3 per year. So as everything that we do, I wanted to beat our competition and make us better than them and make us more attractive than them. So you get 4 per year personal transactions. Your spouse does not count. Your boyfriend does not count. Your mother, father, brother, sister do not count unless you are also on title with them. So you must be on title with them. If you're an owner of the LLC, and you can't be a 1% owner of the LLC. I'm not playing games like that. You have to be at least a 20% owner of the entity that is buying or selling the property. You get it at $300 a file. That's it. 4 per year. For those of you flipping, you get 4 per year. All right. Commercial splits have been in our independent contractor agreement at an 80-20. They've always been an 80-20 because there's more risks to commercial deals. And I have to get involved very often on commercial deals. We're upping that to 90-10. So you guys get 90% instead of 80% on commercial deals. It doesn't matter what level you're at. you're on a 90-10. So we've increased that by 10% to benefit you on commercial deals. That's a big deal for those of you that are doing that in the higher dollars. We've unwrittenly done this for some time now, but now I'm memorializing it in the ICA because that's important. I am increasing the E&O on a commercial deal from $50 to $250. That's because of the risk associated with it. When we go back to our insurance company that insures these deals, they make me disclose how many commercial transactions we're doing, and they charge us more for those. So that's why we got to do that. All right. Things that are going forward that you are going to benefit from because you are existing agents, but they do not affect you because you guys are all grandfathered in, is I am going to start charging $100 for Activate. We put so much effort into that class, and we need to start, getting a little bit of money out of people for that. So all the existing agents are grandfathered in, but new agents coming on board are going to have to pay for Activate. The co-broke commission that we've discussed in our training is going from $295 to $395. So we are deducting an extra $100 from the other agent's commission. So it's already written into our all of our various agreements, but we've gone from $295, which has been stagnant forever. Everyone in our marketplace is deducting more than that. So we're going from $295 to $395. If you guys want to deduct more than that, you feel free. You can do that. You can put $495 on there, whatever you want to put on there, and you get the extra difference. Existing listings are grandfathered in. So we're not changing anything that's in place, but going forward, any new listings, we're going to take $395 from the co-broke. So once again, we're not dipping into your pockets, we're dipping in other pockets. Okay. Monthly membership fees, typically at $100. All of you guys are remaining at $100, but for new agents coming on board, I am increasing that by $25 because we've got more cost than we ever had before. And then finally, the mentees. For those of you in the mentor program, this does affect you guys. Any mentees, you must do at least one listing with your mentor prior to graduating that aspect of the mentor program. So if you do 10 buyer contracts, we're still going to graduate you from the mentor program after 6, and you're still going to get 100% commission on any future buyer deals. But I need you guys to have some experience with listings. So we are going to require that within your first 6, if you're going to graduate after 6, you got to do one listing. Otherwise, whenever that listing comes by, it could be your 8th or your 9th or your 10th transaction. I don't care when it is. You're going to have to revert back to your mentor and have them help you on that, because we can't have people, especially now. I need to make sure that our agents are very well trained in the marketplace and there's not risk out there. So, the lawsuits that I've had to deal with on behalf of our agents and we've had to defend were both, related to failure to disclose issues. They were very experienced agents, but we need to make sure that our agents are well trained, and that's the whole purpose of the mentor program is to make sure you guys are well trained. So those are the changes to the ICA, and hopefully you guys recognize that I am trying to make sure that you guys are protected, because you guys are the basis of our company, and you guys have been with us forever. So going forward, we're going to increase some fees, but it's not going to affect you guys. So that's all I've got. Make sure you guys attend the Power Forums next week. So RSVP and attend those Power Forums. We are going to continue to innovate and make sure you guys are very well trained as things are rolling out for this NAR stuff. I don't see it as big of a deal. As I said in the training, I think it's an opportunity for you guys to garner more commissions for yourself on the buy side and take that as an opportunity. So I appreciate all you guys. Keep working very hard. We will issue more medals next month. Gold, silver, bronze, we will do it. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate all you guys. Bye-bye.